Nvidia stock is down roughly 3% after hours. AMD is down roughly 2.4% after hours as I am recording today's episode. And the main reason is there are reports of more Chinese restrictions coming from the United States. In today's episode, we're going to take a closer look at what we know right now. So let's get started. So if we take a closer look at recent news, there are reports by Reuters, and it does seem like the Wall Street journals that on Tuesday, people familiar with the matter are saying that the United States is considering new restrictions on exports of artificial intelligence chips to China. And this is not the first time we're seeing these kinds of restrictions happening. We mainly saw it, I want to say, in late August, where we heard that Nvidia can't send out their H100 and their A100 chips to China due to certain kind of export restrictions. And during the time, Nvidia kind of came out and said that, hey, because of these restrictions for the third quarter, they believe that that roughly 400 million in potential sales to China may be exposed due to kind of the restrictions that they came out with in 2022. I do want to say one of the biggest changes that has happened is kind of this huge AI craze that we're seeing right now. So the real question is we're going to find out if these reports are true, and if these reports are true, what would be the true impact, right? Because in the semiconductor market, August of 2022 was a completely different time where we're at right now. We didn't have kind of this AI craze happening right now. So I do believe the first thing that investors might be worried about is, hey, look, Nvidia gave us some great guidance in the most recent earnings. How much of that guidance is going to be impacted by this if these are truths? Because if we take a closer look, it does seem, based on the reports, that these new curves will also include the ban of sales of the A800 and the H800 with unless you get special U.S. export licenses, right? And these two products, the A800 and the H800, are two products that Nvidia created, which are weaker versions of the A100 and the H100 to kind of be able to bypass a lot of these regulations. But now if these new regulations are also going to ban these to some extent, then obviously we might see even a bigger impact, especially because the company did give us some guidance. So right now we are seeing that investors are a bit worried. The stock is down roughly 3%. It seems like the market might not be too worried. I think they might be waiting a little bit more to hear of what's happening. I personally believe that right now, at least for this quarter and maybe the next quarter, the data center market is still seeing too much growth and too much demand for the H100 and the A100 chips. So even if they might get even a little bit more bans in China, I don't think it will impact guidance too much because, like we've seen, there's a huge demand for their chips. Now that's only talking about the short term, right? Now the real danger is what will the impact be in the long term of things when maybe the demand starts to die down and maybe we start to need a little bit more from the sales of China. So I do believe right now, though, it might be minimal news because of the overall demand that we're seeing. I also took a closer look at this company's 10Q report, most recent 10Q report that they reported. And unfortunately, the company doesn't break down too much of a region. They just tell us that in China, including Hong Kong, in the most recent earnings, roughly $1.6 billion came from that market. 1.6 out of the 7, that's probably closer to 15 to 20% of total revenue comes from that market alone.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
The crazy thing here, or the more important thing to remember, is this is all their solutions. This is their automotive solutions. This is their consumer gamer cards. These are the chips that go on their laptops. So it's not necessarily all data center solutions. So the real number might be even lower than that. But again, I do believe right now what's causing stock prices to drop is the uncertainty. Just like I kind of thought about it in here, this is not a reason for me to sell any stocks. I do believe the AI demand is going to continue to be strong, but overall, the solutions that Nvidia continues to release is going to continue to see strong demand all around. We do see that I believe AMD might be a little bit less exposed to the Chinese market. The chip that they would ban would be the MI250 and the MI300. This is a very small portion for AMD. So if this does cause a bigger drop on AMD, if it gets closer to that $100, I do believe this is causing more of a buying opportunity for AMD than for Nvidia. I think for Nvidia, it's too crazy already in the year-to-date returns of over almost 200%. I do believe sometimes the market is underestimating AMD, and with this stock price down even a nice 2 to 3%, if we get closer to those 100s, I do believe that kind of makes a decent buying opportunities. But those are just my thoughts, and I could be completely wrong. So obviously there are other companies that might be impacted with this, but I do believe the main ones are going to be Nvidia and AMD. So I hope you guys enjoyed this really quick update. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.